Hi, I'm Michael Wood, CEO of Reyna Gold. Reyna Gold is focused on district scale exploration in northwestern Mexico. We've put together a portfolio of properties on the two major developing gold trends, consisting of 57,000 hectares, and we're focused on our flagship property, La Gloria, which is about 24,000 hectares.
Thank you so much, Michael. Nice, good introduction. Nice to meet you. So, Reyna Gold, a new entrant to the market. You've only been listed for less than a year. Just by way of introduction, you raised, what was it, kind of $10 million, and here you are, not even a year in. Could you give me a bit of background to the company now? What brought you to Reyna Gold?
Yeah, certainly. My business partner in Hong Kong, Jorge, and myself set up Reyna Silver. In 2018, we did a deal with MAG, where we got two kind of orphaned assets from MAG that Peter McCall was very fond of, and set up Reyna Silver. And as we got to know Peter more and more, Peter really said to us, like, there's so much potential for gold exploration in northwestern Mexico. We should do a gold exploration company focused on northwestern Mexico. And that's where Reyna Gold came from. So really Peter's idea. And, once we started looking into it, we understood the potential that these two major developing gold trends, already about 50 million ounces, have been discovered, mainly in the last 30 years. And we were able to put together big land packages. In total, we've got 57,000 hectares. You can't go into Red Lake or Nevada and put together that kind of land packages. So that's where the company came from. And, we're delighted to raise that initial capital. Yeah, we raised $10.5 million in our IPO in January this year. So
Canadian?
Canadian. So well-financed, still have just shy of $6.5 million in the bank today. And we've made a lot of progress over this initial period in the exploration, which we can go through in a lot more detail today, Merlin. But yeah, that's where the company came from, the focus of the company, and very happy with the way things are going geologically. I think it's been just, unfortunately, quite a tough financial market for particularly new entrants like ourselves.
Absolutely. It's terrible markets, but we'll come on to that and we'll talk about how you're dealing with that in a second. But just going back to Reyna Silver and Reyna Gold, presumably they're sister companies. Do you have any shareholders, and are you involved in Reyna Silver at all still?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the same shareholders, a lot of the people that supported us on Reyna Silver were the initial shareholders of Reyna Gold. Yeah, I'm still a director of Reyna Silver and still the CFO of Reyna Silver. So, heavily involved in both companies, as is Jorge. Jorge is the chairman of Reyna Gold. So a lot of similarities between the personnel, Peter McCall, obviously, and then a lot of the Mexican staff as well are involved in both companies. So we have this footprint now in Mexico for the exploration, and once you get that footprint in a country, it's easier to expand in country rather than venturing off into other parts of the world.
And do you share the same office? And how do you divide your time between the two?
Really, I'm really focused on Reyna Gold a lot more. I have my directorship, and I'm still CFO at Reyna Silver, but really my focus is on Reyna Gold. I go to site and have multiple calls with the technical team on a weekly basis. So yeah, a lot more focus for me on Reyna Gold, and vice versa with Jorge on Reyna Silver.
And you did that initial round at 40 cents. Did you have any institutions in there, or was it just largely but was it largely high net worth individuals and your contacts from Reyna Silver?
No, yeah, we had a lot of institutions that came in to that round. A lot of the major funds in the sector came in that had supported us previously. Commodity Discovery Fund, Commodity Capital, Terra Capital, EMA, to name a few. So yeah, good institutional shareholding.
Those are Aussie names, aren't they? Commodity Discovery Fund, Terra Capital?
Terra is, yeah. Commodity Discovery, no, is European. It's Philip Middlecoop, out of Amsterdam.
Of course. Got those 57,000 hectares. Was it all from Mag Silver? Was it all kind of orphaned assets from Mag Silver? Or was that just am I getting confused on the heritage of your portfolio base?
Yeah, exactly. Reyna Gold has nothing to do with Mag. The Mag assets for Reyna Silver.
Reyna Silver.
So yeah.
But so Peter McCall knew where the gold potential was.
Exactly. Yeah. And
were those off corporates, or were there direct applications with the government?
Mainly off local landowners. So particularly for La Gloria, we put together 7 claims, all from local landowners in Sonora.
So it took a while. It must have taken a while.
It took a while.
Putting the deal together. I mean, because private owners and family offices with their individual perceptions of what their land is worth, it must have been quite a quite a conversation, quite a dialogue.
It took Jorge and Ariel Navarro, who's our VP of exploration. He's from Sonora. He's a third generation geologist from Sonora. And he's the one that really highlighted La Gloria to Peter and Jorge and myself and said, this is a really interesting land package. We should try and put it together. And it took the best part of 2 years to get the land package put together. And
have any of them come in as shareholders, or is it all kind of bullet payments that you're going to have to make over time?
Yeah, somewhat. For the claims, we've issued shares, but minimal in cash. And then 3 of the claims was just pure cash.
And are there payments pending on kind of milestones? What does the future payment schedule look like?
Yeah, so now the majority of the property we own 100%. Of the 24,000 hectares, basically all but what we call the main zone area now is owned 100%. That main zone area, which is less than 1,000 hectares, we have cash payments due up until 2024, incrementally increased. So the majority is actually in 2024, but not substantial. I think now we still have in the region of about 400,000 left to pay. So minimal cash payments left. Yeah.
Okay, that's it's good to know that that they're not they're not huge. I mean, you'd be surprised because the number of smaller companies with payments, a quarter of their market capitalization is. And they don't get mentioned. So it's good to know that it's a manageable sum.
Yeah.
And the principle, really, your approach was to raise the $10 million and to go hard on the exploration. You had a 10,000 meter commitment in terms of drilling. The headline, you said, we're going to drill 10,000 meters, and you're about halfway through on that process. Is that about fair?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct, Ramon. So we did an initial 30 holes. And then, we got 2 standard holes from that. We got a 59 meters of 1.45 grams per ton virtually from surface. And then we got a 5.5 meter intercept of extremely high grade silver of 935 grams of silver, also virtually from surface. And what our initial strategy is we want to go and build up bulk mineralization close to surface. In the Sonoran Desert, it's oxidized material. Plan A is we go in, we get multiple pit scenario, which is all heap leachable, and we build up a kind of central processing facility with multiple pits and put a deposit together in that way. So that's our initial strategy, and you'll see, we've really got 5 main targets now in about a third of the property, which is about 8,000 hectares, 80 square kilometers of this 24,000 hectare property. We're honed into about a third. And we've got 5 main targets here where we're developing all pretty good targets where we kind of feel all in their own right could be a deposit. And that's kind of what we wanted to do, real true district scale exploration, where we knew this was a very interesting zone, on the Megashear, very close to El Chinate, which was almost 2 million ounce deposit, very close to the 3 big Fresnillo mines up on the trend, and really had a lot of historic workings, 40 to 50 historic mines we've already found on the property. And it has never been looked at really in modern times. Junior had it in the mid-2000s called High Vista, High Desert Gold, or the core of our property. We have actually more land. But they never really had the capital to explore properly. And, they did 1,000 meters here, 2,000 meters there. They did a lot of shallow drilling, but never really pieced together anything of substance. I mean, the 59 meter hole we've got already is, 1.45 grams, almost 1.5 grams. It's far more meaty than anything that's ever been found previously on the property.
So how did you approach it? Has it been a desk study approach? Have you gone back into historical records to work out where the mines have been? Have you done a remote sensing study looking from space? Has it been sending teams of prospectors out to kind of speak to the locals and lick rocks? Or a combination of some of the above?
Yeah, all of the above, actually. We've done satellite imaging, we've done regional mag. We're honing in now in IP on 4 of those 5 specific targets, and pretty big IP covering, big areas of land. The first 2 targets we started on, we're doing about 40 kilometers of lines of IP on those first 2 targets, so, substantial IP. And we looked at the historic workings. This is one of the beauties of Mexico. You can go back and use these historic workings as an exploration guide. That the Spanish were in there getting high-grade material, and they didn't go very deep. So you use that as an initial guide, which we did. And then, we really, our geological team on the ground are all local guys. Two of the more senior guys came from Fresnillo. One was at La Herradura for 10 years. One was there for multiple years as well. So we've really hired guys that know the local deposits, the big deposits, know what to look for. And they've been out in the field. These kind of projects, a lot of it initially is field observation work, at being out there, mapping and sampling, finding mineralization at surface, starting to understand the structures. And then on top of that, we've also done a lot of structural work. And actually, we've just completed a structural report. We don't have the findings yet, but a structural geologist was on site for 7 weeks, did a comprehensive structural report. So we'll add that in as well to the mix of what we're doing. So, really want to focus on district scale, and hopefully we can find multiple deposits. We kind of look at this property, like Gloria, as being multiple properties in one. We actually have 12 targets already, really all over the 24,000 hectares where we know there's mineralization at surface. But we've honed into this 8,000 hectares for now, where we're really focusing on these 5 main targets.
And is that 8,000 hectares? Is that what you call La Repubblica?
So La Republicana is one of those 5 targets. So in that 8,000 hectares, we have La Republicana, Western, Main Zone, El Sombrero, and then that's Carmelita. And actually, Western is by far the biggest from a size aspect. But all of them are substantial targets, and you'll see on the mapping in the presentation that they take up actually most of that 8,000 hectares. And to give context, I mean, I was looking at this the other day, Merlin, like to give context to investors on the size of that, that's a similar size to Manhattan. Manhattan is basically 80 square kilometers. 8,000 hectares is 80 square kilometers. So, we're looking at a landmass similar size to Manhattan. So there's a lot of terrain. I mean, I was just there 2 weeks ago. Driving from one target to the other takes a while. You're out there. We're very fortunate, actually. It's a ranch, so there's a lot of access roads. So that, in exploration helps us a lot. There's a lot of access roads there, help us get around. Obviously, we've already built more. And the terrain is quite favorable. A lot of it is actually quite flat. We do have some mountainous areas. La Republicana is the highest area that we've explored to date. But again, it's not substantial high terrain, and it's quite easy to work. It's not like you're working on the edge of very sheer zones. It's quite favorable terrain for exploration and production.
When you had the portfolio put together and you were talking to your IPO funding investors, you must have said, we are going to do district scale exploration. Everything you've just said to me, we're here, so we're on the trend, we're on the Megashear. We want to find the big one, Sonoran Desert, heap leach. What did you give them in terms of time frames? What did you say that you would have done by the end of, what were your targets that you laid out? What were you trying to achieve with your 10,000 meters drilling in, let's say, the first 15 months?
So with this initial 10,000 meters, we want to show that we've got mineralization at multiple targets on the property. So, with La Republicana, we've got this standard hole, virtually 60 meters of 1.5 grams from surface. We want to definitely do follow-up after the IP. The rig will start turning it, so the drill will start turning again at La Republicana. And we want to step out along the structure that produced that hole. The team have now tracked that structure for about 1 kilometer at surface. So, we definitely want to be stepping out multiple 100 meters along this, hopefully show people similar results to what we just got. And then I think, people will start to see, okay, already here, you've got a good chance that you've got an economic deposit. We want to also show people in Western, we have similar structure. In Las Carmelitas, we have similar structure in Main Zone. In Main Zone, we already have a breccia of about 260 meters at length that's hosting mineralization in the region of 20 to 30 meters thick. So not, anything massive, but you're probably looking 50, 100,000 ounces there, which is, once you start adding that up to other deposits as well, it starts to build up quite quickly. And I think one thing to get across is the benchmark or the bar, for an economic deposit in the Sonoran Desert is not that high. These are heap leach deposits. The infrastructure is in place. We've got access to power, water, etc., the main things. And the good benchmark is that El Chinare mine, which is just next door, 1.7 kilometers south, was built by Capital Gold in 2009, cost them $36 million for that heap leach processing facility. So, okay, that was done to build to 125,000 ounces gold per year. So, okay, let's call it in today's money, $50-60 million to do 100,000 ounces of gold. The amount of gold we need to be finding isn't millions of ounces at like 2 or 3 grams per ton, right? If we get 1 million ounces at 0.5 gram, that's a very economic deposit. where we are.
And grade, oxide, you can cope with around 0.8, 0.9, 1 gram a ton. Although some of those are much lower. So I've seen some of those Mexican assets coming into production at 0.5 grams a ton. It makes me weep a bit. But it's
Archinate was 0.5. The cutoff was 0.11. Average grade was 0.5. Very economic mine. Alamos bought it in the end. Capital Gold started it. Alamos bought it mined out in 2020. La Herradura, which is the biggest gold mine in Mexico, operated by Fresnillo, the average grade is in the region of 0.6, 0.7. They've been consistently below 1,000 all-in cost for many years until the last year when obviously everybody's had cost creep. But here the average grade, 0.5 to 0.67 gram. As long as it's close to surface, it's oxidized, you're fine. You actually, you're in a position where it could print a lot of money. Now, we were delighted when we got this initial hole that we're getting kind of 3 times that grade, 1.5 grams from surface. So, it's a good start, and we definitely want to follow up on that. But what we said to investors and what we internally want to show is that we have multiple, good mineralized zones on the property with this initial 10,000 meters to show the district scale. Because as you know, Merlin, so many people and, capital is very scarce in exploration. And often people will just gravitate and they will just focus on, okay, we've got a good showing here. We're going to focus on this and develop a deposit. And they put all their resources into that and they never look further around. And particularly where we are, we know the potential and we generally believe there's multiple deposits on this property. And that's what we want to show with this initial exploration. We're fortunate to get the capital to do that. So that's what we want to show. And then, definitely then we'll hone in and we want to build up a resource based on the back of that, hopefully at multiple of these deposits after this initial stage.
It's almost you don't want to move into that resource definition too early. I mean, you just mentioned it. It's almost data bias. You find one good bit of data and then you suddenly start sticking to it like a fur ball. But actually that just might be a function of that was the first place that you got to, or the easiest access, or for whatever reason you got the land rights. That just happened to be the first one you tested. But you've got to cover all of your anomalies, or not all of them, but you've got to be systematic and hit a number of your higher ranking theoretical targets to understand where the best place is to give you the opportunity to find that the best economic resource, which may not just be the first place that you start looking.
Exactly. And the major miners, they much prefer to buy 1 5 million ounce deposit than 5 1 million ounce deposits because of the economies of scale for mining. So if you as an explorer can start to show that potential, you put yourself in a different league. You look at the recent major discoveries, and we know discoveries are getting thinner and thinner. And when you can make a major discovery and you show the size and the scale, then you get on the radar of the very biggest guys. And so many people want to make acquisitions in the gold space. But if you can put yourself up there right at the top, then you're in a great position. So that's really kind of, Peter obviously has great experience with this with MAG, and he's really emphasized to us for Reyna Silver and Reyna Gold. You want to look big, right? You don't just want to be trying to build up a small deposit. You want to go and you want to do proper large scale exploration. And if we can find multiple pits on La Gloria in this initial phase, then fantastic. But we also believe, when you're getting so much mineralization across the surface, there's probably some pretty major events happen at greater depth. And what we're finding is, not only when we first started looking at the property, we thought it was just orogenic gold. Now we know we also have a lot of intrusive events on the property as well. And that's great to see. And, what we really want to understand is what's happening at greater depth, but that will come. We really believe we can just build up bulk mineralization close to surface without having to go and drill, 500 1 kilometer holes to understand, what's going on at a greater depth. The IP, give us a good snapshot, kind of 200 meters from surface. That's what we want to see. And then hopefully build up some pits, kind of in that kind of depth range, add some good ounces, and then we'll see where we're at from a corporate perspective, kind of, 12, 18 months down the line.
We've certainly seen, at the moment, it's actually value destructive, even almost, to define resources. The market is paying you less for finding ounces than it is than it costs to define them. So it kind of comes back to the thesis of demonstrating the potential of the district. Getting on the on the horizon of getting on the radar screen of people who are more interested in a bigger scale, whether that's the funds, private equity groups, or the corporates themselves. It's all about highlighting the potential of the area. Did you have any?
Exactly.
Did you have any response from the what happened in the market when you released that 50-odd meter hole at 1.5 grams or 1.45? Was that tumbleweed?
Well, actually, on the day we went from 12 cents to 17 cents, but within a week,
You've given it back
like 13 or 14. I think, unfortunately, I think that's the nature as well. Like when some investors that would prefer to turn to cash see a window to take that opportunity, they're taking it in this environment, because I think a lot of people have got overstretched, and so that's unfortunately the nature we are. I mean, today I think we're trading at 14-15 cents, which 66 million shares puts a sub 10 million Canadian market cap. But that's the market. I mean, the market, something's only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. And in this market, that's what people are willing to pay for it. And I think unfortunately people are de-risking pretty aggressively at the moment, and companies like ours are exploration, and as a consequence, we've experienced that. But I mean, from our perspective, we're delighted to have the cash. We don't have to worry about raising capital in the foreseeable future. And, we want to produce substantially more good results. And then I think we'll get a substantial re-rating before we need to go back to the capital market.
And so you've got about 5,000 meters of drilling still to come. And is that focused on your 5 main targets?
Yeah. And just give some context as well, Merlin, we can drill a lot more than 5,000 meters. Our cost of drilling is, our drill contract is $118 a meter, 118 US. So, 5,000 meters is about $500,000 US dollars. So that's just what the initial board budgeted, initial 10,000 meters of drilling, but we'll definitely expand that. We have well in excess of 20,000 meters of drill targets sitting there from these 5 targets and counting. So we'll go, once we finish the IP, we will drill, we'll go back and we'll drill starting at La Republicana, then we'll go to Western, then Las Carmelitas, which the team is actually very excited about, Merlin. Las Carmelitas, there's some very interesting minerals being found there. We've got a very unique combination of high levels of mercury. And when I say high, I mean, like we were discussing on the technical call, and we said we got high levels of mercury. And we showed the technical team the levels, and they're like, wow. Like high levels of mercury are kind of like 5 or 10 parts per million. We've got up to 790 parts per million of mercury in this Las Carmelitas area, which is like off the chart. So we've got this high combination of mercury, antimony, barium, and strontium, which is seen in the enrichment zones on these hot spring type deposits. It's quite unique, but there's a number of these in Nevada. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with these hot springs enrichment zones at the top of orogenic systems. Quite high grade gold mineralization. And what we're expecting to find is once the mercury drops out of the system, where we've been doing these samples, we've actually been getting good copper grades because we've got chalcocite. So we're getting 2% plus copper samples from the chalcocite, but no gold, but high levels of mercury. But what we expect is once the mercury drops out of that, we'll track it. And once we're finding the mercury dropping out of the system, the gold should come through. So we're very excited about this area. We'll do IP on it, and then we'll start drilling there. So the plan is, to go back, La Republicana, Western, Las Carmelitas, then go back to main zone, where we've got the known breccia, we got the high grade silver intercept. We're also going to do IP there to give us a better indication, a bit more depth. So they're the 4 main targets. We did some drilling at El Sombrero, and we do want to, we believe actually the drilling we did at El Sombrero wasn't the most successful of the drilling we've done today. And the team actually believe we just drilled too deep. We noticed mineralization at surface, and we drilled designing to hit the veining kind of 50, 60 meters from surface. And we got some pretty patchy intercepts, not kind of what we're hoping for. But we do believe within 20, 30 meters of surface, we would get a lot better results. So that's the 5th of those 5 target areas. But the 4 main ones, La Republicana is definitely the main one. There'll be substantial drilling done there. Western, we've got a stretch already of quite dense veining at surface of about 1 kilometer in length, 300 meters of width already. And we really want to start drilling into that. And the team believes we can expand that veining substantially as well. We're doing a lot of groundwork there before the drilling starts. And then, Las Carmelitas, we're very excited about drilling this potential hot spring enrichment zone.
Good. So, timing wise, I mean, that'll take you through kind of the first half of next year at least.
Yeah. So we hopefully we're drilling again by December. Hopefully the rig is turning before the end of the year at La Republicana is what we're aiming for. And then, we'll be drilling for a good 3 to 4 months continuous around these targets, if not longer. I think
it's 2 months enough to get your IP done and processed and all of that thinking complete, and you're targeting to get the drill rig in the right place, or are you going to start before you've kind of got all of the data in from the IP zones?
Right. So once we get the IP from La Republicana, we're doing La Republicana first. Once we get the data from La Republicana, we'll start La Republicana. We won't wait for all the target areas to be IP'd. So once the La Republicana IP is done and we've got the data, we'll start drilling on the back of that. Same with Western, and then Las Carmelitas, and then back into main zone. So that's the strategy and the timeline we're working on.
Good. Is this your first year as a CEO?
Yeah. Of a public company.
It's quite frustrating being beaten up by the market, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but it is what it is. I think if I didn't have the cash in the company, I'll be more concerned. I mean, it's not. It's annoying, and hopefully the investors that invest in the IPO are sticking with the story and they make money. But until April it was okay. Until kind of the market crashed in April, we were holding in the 30-cent range, and then the market collapsed middle of April, and the Nasdaq just went and didn't stop, unfortunately, until the low was 12. The low we hit was 12 cents.
What valuation did you come out? What was your pro forma valuation with the $10 million in cash? 26 Canadian. So you raised 10 on top of 16.
Yeah.
At least you can be kind of completely honest about the valuation and kind of offer upside.
Yeah. No, I think at this price, it's a very attractive entry point. I've been buying in the market. Recently I've been buying some shares on the market, and I know there's a lot of interest, and the book is quite strong. I think I look at the book obviously on a regular basis, and if you look at the book, there's reasonable depth on the buy side, but unfortunately there's reasonable depth on the sell side. And often I see it in the market, we have a standoff where there's a lot of sell orders, and the buy guys are quite sensibly just sitting there and saying, okay, come to me.
Good. Well, where do you find you get their best interest from when you're marketing this? I mean, it's interesting you've got Australian shareholders, European interest. Is it a global market, or do you find that the North American audience is kind of more in tune with the North American assets?
Yeah, I think it's a global audience. I think in Asia, quite a bit of money came from Hong Kong, where I'm based, in Australia, and everybody, not everybody, but those that believe in precious metals understand the potential of exploration. And I think, the experienced precious metals investors understand diversifying. Okay, they might have the majority of their holdings in the producers and hard metals, but they understand the turbocharged returns you can get from exploration. So when they see a good company with good assets that they're happy to invest in, we have interest really on a global level, Merlin. A lot of money came from Asia and Australia, Europe, and North America. So all around. And also in South America, I think there's quite a few Mexican investors that are very excited about the potential as well.
Good. Well, good luck with the exploration. It's always exciting when a new district emerges like this. And I look forward to seeing the news releases as they come out in the weeks and months ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Merlin.
Pleasure. Well, I'll catch up with you again, perhaps after you've done the drilling program, and we can kind of report back and see how you've got on.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. Thank you very much.